Hey guys, so we're going to be getting into rigging, and so I wanted to talk about kind of what rigging is, what it's not, and kind of what the point of it is. So rigging or character rigs are essentially uh, it's a bridging between an idea, which would be your character models that you're making in ZBrush. Um, and then your retopologization of that model. And it's basically the bridge between the model and the animation. It's the bridge between an idea and the execution, and what allows you to create that execution. It is the strings on a puppet that make it from going from being a doll to something that actually has life, that has a purpose, that can breathe, that can speak, that can blink. And that's really one of the neat things about 3D animation is that we can create these characters that do so many things, and they're not just static, or they're not just um, lifeless statues. And this is rigging can be it can be hard, it can be difficult, um, it's challenging for sure, but I do not feel that rigging is in any way whatsoever impossible, um, because this is our goal. This is what we're trying to do is we're trying to get you guys to understand how to create um, or how to create your own characters. One of the best things about being a 3D animator is really truly bringing your vision to life, not modifying that vision for whatever elements you have on hand, such as whatever rigs you can find or characters you can find um, in on the internet or wherever. It's allowing you to actually create your own thing. And so what I'm showing here is just an example of that. This is my film called Oni, and I made it. I finished it up beginning of 2020, and all the characters are modeled by me. All the characters are rigged and textured. Everything is how I designed it, and that's really a cool feeling to have is to be able to do that. Um, so as we're going to be going through doing rigging for the next 4 or 5 weeks, you guys will be focusing on learning different techniques for rigging. Okay, how to create a character rig and different aspects that go into it. With a character rig, you there's multiple things we'll need to be focusing on, and by no means will it be all encompassing. You will not know everything about rigging, because just like modeling and texturing and everything, it is a subject matter that extends far beyond what we have time to teach in 8 weeks for this one class. But it'll be something that will give you the agency to be able to go out and do stuff on your own that you did not have the ability to do before. And hopefully, it will give you the confidence to pursue your own films and make your own ideas become real. Um, so we can go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of the rigs that was used in this film. We'll go and close that. And let's take a look and talk about what a rig is. So in pretty much in many ways, 3D animation is very similar to stop motion with puppets or marionette puppetry. And it's really kind of cool to see how this kind of comes together, and you'll understand later on. But when we make our models, we need to have something that drives those models. And just like puppets or action figures or anything, they need to have articulating points in order to be able to move. And in stop motion animation, that's often accomplished by having a skeleton made of metal uh, that is underneath the skin, and it articulates and it deforms the body. And in this case, it's the same way. We have an articulating skeleton made up of joints. And when these two joints are joined together, you have a bone that's in between them. It really is like a skeleton. So you'll see here on the hand, I have all these joints and bones for each one of the fingers. And on top of those bones are these colored shapes. These are called controllers. And these controllers are essentially the strings for the puppet. They are what allows us to move and pose a character. And once we can start posing a character at different time frames or different frame numbers, we can then create the animation. Okay. And that brings the character to life. Now, there are linkages between our mesh and the bones. This is going to be referred to as skinning, okay? Skin binding, essentially. This character's shirt, for example, has what's called a skin cluster that is attached to a number of these joints. And as these joints move, they affect various parts of the mesh underneath them. And so you'll see as I'm moving the shoulder that there is parts of the mesh moving, obviously the shoulder, but then it kind of falls off around here on the shirt and on the upper arm. This is really to make it kind of look like a realistic object. So it actually has bone or flesh or muscle underneath it. Additionally, here we have character controls that allow us to control the face. So I can open and close the mouth. I can change a facial expression, and we can do that because we have these joints and these controllers that are all kind of linked up to the skin in various places. So that's really, really useful. And once we have all this, of course, we can animate the character. So we're going to be focusing on a few different basic systems, and each one of these systems are going to allow us to essentially build on the previous system we learned. So each week we'll build on the previous week. And at the end of that period of time, you will have the ability and the knowledge to be able to create a fully functional character from scratch on your own. Okay. So we will be focusing initially on what's called an FK chain. And FK chains stand for forward kinematics. And those are essentially a series of joints that are parented underneath one of each other. So that this right here, like this child, has a parent here that it follows. And this is a child of another parent that it follows. So then all three of these will move together. And then additionally, we'll be taking that understanding of an FK chain and applying it to what's called a ribbon spine, where I can actually create a stretchy component. It technically is an FK chain, but it has a stretchy component to it that you see here with the way these joints are deforming that allows those to move and stretch and deform like a rubber band. It's really useful if you have characters that need to stretch, or you just need to get a little bit of extra distance, or have characters like tentacles or tails or anything like that. That's super, super useful. So then, FK leads into the ribbon chain or ribbon spine. And then then we take that and we move over to what's called the reverse foot setup. So the reverse foot setup is a very common setup for allowing a character to walk. I can basically grab, by the way, reverse foot uses what's called an IK system, which is inverse kinematics. And that inverse kinematics allows us to pick up one extremity, the foot, and it moves the entire leg. Now this can be applied to the arms. It can be applied to a number of different body parts. But this is super important because we want to be able to have a character walk. And so we can do that with that IK system. And the reverse foot setup allows us to have deformable, movable feet that bend to the surface of a floor. And then we can also have, with the reverse foot setup, we can also have various pivot points that allow us to move various pieces of the foot. And then building off of that, we will be implementing what's called a IK-FK switch. This will be what's referred to as it's a set-driven key that allows us to basically take limbs and switch them from FK, which is where you have control over each one of these limbs, one of these joints, to something like IK, like the foot, where I can switch it from one to the other. So here I have the FK system turned on, and then there I have the IK system turned on. And now I can just move the arm around and do whatever I want. And then going off of that, we can then go over and finish up our understanding of basic rigging by creating a facial rig, where we have both bones that drive the face, that we can open and close the mouth. We can tweak the nose. We can do all sorts of stuff. And then we also can work with blend shapes, which are pre-sculpted facial shapes. And we can get some really nice facial expression. And then once we put all of that together, we have a character rig. We have something that we can actually take into a film and start to animate with, which is pretty awesome. I really like it. So like I said, each one of these assignments is going to build on the previous assignment. So by all means, do not try to forget what you've learned. This is all extremely important. Now, our assignments are going to be about 1 week long, so you will definitely need to keep up as best you can. Do not fall behind, because we will be moving fast through each one of these. And like I said, everything is going to be building on the other. So if I don't talk about something in a video, but it's on the assignment sheet, yes, you are still required to do it. So make sure you do it. Okay. All right. So that's what a character rig is. A lot of fun. It is a bit tedious, but I think you guys will hopefully enjoy this. If you have any questions, obviously contact me. Email, best place to ask me questions. Discord is the best place to ask your colleagues, your peers questions. All right. You guys have a good one.